Hey everyone, and welcome. I'm Desiree, and I am going to show you in this video. I did this on my live on June 22nd, but there was a lot of stuff that we did before, and we chit-chatted through, and then we finally got to this. So I figured I would make a video where you can see how I made this. And this is for the Creep on June for 2025. And these are the games that we are looking at. Now, one of the things that I want to show you first when it comes to this album that's just going to house the games, it's both a scrapbook album with a hinge system like we put in our scrapbook albums. And then it also has a hidden spine, and these are the sewn in signatures. But these signatures are actually envelopes. So we constructed an envelope, and before we sealed it up, we sewed it into a hidden spine. So those are the first 5. And then we have the pocket pages like we do for a scrapbook album for the last 3. And these are the 2 that I'm going to focus on because they are the game board pieces. So how they are set up, you pull this out, here's your game board and the charm that goes with it. And it is called Vines and Ladders. And I'm just seeing something that's sticking out there that I'm fixing. So this charm comes off of it. And then these are the playing pieces, and they are magnetized. The group that was on with me said, let's do it. I said, wonder what it would be if they were magnetized. And they're like, let's do it. So we did. And I absolutely love it. We created a pocket here. So that we could journal as we're playing the game and the fun that we had. So here is the game board. And then when you flip it over, we have Library of the Lost, and then up the ladders, down the vines, and then I smashed down the brads to make it a little bit flatter. And this does lay flat, even though we've got this charm coming off of this. It's very well, it's not tipping or anything like that. And then that just slides into our pocket here, like we have for a scrapbook album. And then that will dangle out. So we made our own charm for the game name. And then I haven't figured out what we're going to do here. I think I'm still just going to do another pocket and 2 of the papers. And then same thing for the inside here, because we do have a 3/8 of an inch space in between our hinges, so we can do that. The next 2 game boards that I'm going to be working on are the tic-tac-toe and the what I'm referring to as checkers, and they are going to have 12 pieces. So we're going to have a different setup when it comes to the placement of our magnets. This just had 6, but we're going to do the same thing, a pocket. I think the pocket is definitely going to be bigger and deeper, but that just means we'll be able to put, different things in there, taller tags, so that we can journal and still have the fun and the concept of recording what we did. All right. So let's get our first one out so that I can show you what we did. Now, I don't know, these are the pieces that we're going to be working with. And the next one is the checkers. And then these are all the pieces that I've pulled out for it. And what I'm going to do is just get this set up. This is our playboard. Then this is going to be for the pocket. Now, what I am going to do, so this is Dracula and Dragons, Droughts. So I'm going to use, and I believe This is the punch that will fit. It's a 1-inch punch. Yeah. So that's what we're going to turn these into. All right. So I'm going to punch these out. So unfortunately, we're going to hear this noise a lot. And that's okay, because let's get these pieces ready. And then we will do the dragons next. And I am going to make these like chipboard pieces. And I want to cut this out because I don't want to lose the name, because that's going to be our charm base. And I think I'm going to use my cutter for that. So let me get these here. I don't want to lose that. And I'm going to trim this as well on my trimmer. I'll be distressing this just a little bit. Okay, and then let's get this cut. Now we can actually bring this down just a little bit. Now here's where the fun will be to see. You know what? I think I am just going to use my scissors because I am not. It'll go terribly wrong if I try to cut that with my cutter. It's going to trim down the sides. All right, so we have that. Now this here, I am going to put I'm going to set it up like I did for my other piece. So let's work on the charm first. All right, and then let's get this glued down. And then I am going to tear this. Because why not? And then we'll have to measure this. All right, and we'll tear that side, and we'll tear this side. All right. I'm going to ink around this. And I am going to go kind of sort of heavy-handed. And I am using a combination for our inking of both the vintage photo and scorched timber. Perfect. All right, so now I need to measure. This is going to be 1 inch by 5.5. So I'm gonna dig into my scraps because I do want a heavy weight cardstock. And we're going to cut these 5.5, and that's 5.5 by 1 inch. And let's see, does that look right? Yes, okay. So that will not be long enough. Here we go. Let's see. How about this? Yes. Because I want to strengthen up this base since it's going to be a charm. So I want to make it chipboard-esque. And again, I'm using heavyweight cardstock. So I'm going to layer this 5 times. And we're just going to glue these together. And then we're going to let this dry. All right. And we're really going to press that down. So I'm going to let that dry. This, in the meantime, I do want to add some brads. I love metal. Just going to move that up like that. And we're going to punch some holes here. And I'm using my mini brads. And I'm just going to push down on these just to get them flat. Now this one, we don't have anything for the back of our game board. I'm going to grab my double-sided tape. Just so that I can put tape over the brads. Let's try that again. This tape just kind of went quacky on me. And we'll get this set onto what's going to be our charm. I love making paper charms. I'm not worried about it being flat. I don't need it to be flat. And there we go. So that is that. Now I have my piece that's going to come out. Now this is, you know, it's going to be lifted up on that section, but that's okay. I'm good with that. I'm going to grab my hole punch. And we're going to put one in the center. And we're going to eyeball that. And then we're going to put one in here. And more metal, we're going to add our eyelets. All right. And then I'm going to use a ball and chain. To have these hang from. And there we go. So that's going to be our charm. And we have that set. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm also going to cut, since there's 12 pieces of these, we're going to get our pieces ready. I am going to use this as a backing. This is also by Tracy Fox. It's from her Creepy Papers. And I absolutely love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch 12 of these, and I'm going to dig into my scraps. And unfortunately, I'm going to need like 60 because I want these to be a little thicker for the piece. Matter of fact, I think I just need to do 3 layers. I don't need to do the 5 like I did on the other. So I'm going to punch these, and when I come back, we're going to continue. Okay, Welcome back. So I got all of these layered. I did use 5 layers. I just like the feel of them, and I inked around them, but I still have my backs opened because we need to do that. Now, what I need to do with these, and I'm just going to get these ready, is we are going to put magnets on the back of them. Now, what I'm going to do is grab a few, and I'm just going to put these down onto this strip, and then I'll be able to cut it. This is very fiddly. And then just get them onto the backs of our pieces. How many do I have there? 7. Nine. Okay, now, so we got those 12 on there. Okay, now let's get this out of my way. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in between and then get them onto our playing pieces. I'm not worried about which way the playing pieces are facing. Because there is nothing that's directional on them. But I do want to get these set up. And again, I'm also not worried about the position of them either. Now, again, I'm going to grab a piece of tape. And I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to place that here. And set the next magnet, and then we are going to set these above me so that they are out of the way. And I'm going to just get a few of these out. can see you can just drop them. They're just gonna go. These are very strong magnets. And I get mine from Amazon. And they are very thin. Now they do have some raising to them. So now that I have them placed and I know which way they go, I'm going to set that down and then set the magnet down. I'm not worried if the magnet either is centered. It doesn't have to be. I'm just making sure that I am setting them down the same way. Okay. That tedious part is done. Now let's get our board together. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down like this. I'm going to grab my paper distresser. You can do this with a pair of scissors. However, just be careful. And we're going to ink. And I am going to ink around the edge with the scorched timber just a little bit as well. Lots of fuzzies. And then we're going to get this down onto our board, and we're going to get our charm down onto the board as well. I just like to use a little bit of double-sided tape with the glue. Because then I know she's down. And we'll center that, and we will press. I'm going to grab our charm. And that is going to sit right there. All right, now before, I'm going to take the charm off so that I can put glue on this. And I'm going to grab a clamp. And I'm also going to grab the other board game because I do want these somewhat lined up. Just a little bit. There we go. And then I am going to clamp this just so that glue starts taking hold. All right, so let's get this back into our pocket. And I am going to pull our book in now. So then we can look at the placement. We've got 12 pieces instead of 6 this time. Now, I absolutely love this paper. So I'm going to cut this down first. I just need to move some things out of my way because I'm going to bring in the big guns. And I need this to be cut 8 1/4. And we'll cut the top and the bottom. This is going to be the background. This is not going to be on the pocket, I don't believe. Because I believe that these will be very well. I just liked that red for our game pieces. And I'm just going to cut the edges off so that we know for right now. That will come back up onto the table at some point. So, this is going to sit here. And I know it's a bigger piece, but again, just making sure. And then this is the pocket that I'm looking at. So it is a bigger pocket than what we had for the, I want to call it chutes and ladders. So vines and ladders. So these are the signs of what my pieces are, so I can use these for placement. And what I can do is I can do that. Oh, do that, that, and that. And again, I'm just looking at the placement. And once I get the placement, one, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then that's 12. So we could go like that. And then we can put that one right there. So those are going to be our game piece placements. So what I want to do now is get these in place. So I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to put that there. Then I'm going to grab the next one and we're going to grab that one and put that there. So that's how I'm getting the placement of our pieces. And I just want to make sure that the so like this one is tough because it's not long. And what I can do is if I turn this, and then when I lift this, I can push down just in that corner, just to get them in there. Okay, so I'm going to carefully move this. And I'm going to slide the book back out. I can lift the piece to get them down so that they are in place. I'm going to turn that. So as you can see, very fiddly. But once they're in, they're in. I'm just moving them just a little bit so that I know. I keep learning a new way to get these in place. It's really funny. But by the time I get the tic-tac-toe down, this will be a piece of cake. And I'll probably never do it again. And then our final piece. So there we go. There are our game pieces. They are set onto the panel. Now, I know that this panel, I believe, is 5.5, and it is. So I need to cut this panel here at I'm going to cut the white off on both sides. Yeah. Just debating that. Now I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. I'm just going to shift that up a little bit. I'm going to turn it upside down. I want to make sure I have a straight edge. And now I'm going to cut this at 8 1/4. Okay. So this should now fit with a little bit of a black border. Yes. Now we're going to ink around our 2 pieces. I'm going to take our magnetized board up there, and we are going to ink these. And then just a hint of the scorched timber. All right, and we're going to do the same thing real quick to this one. And really for this one, I'm just getting rid of the white edge. On that, and I don't need the scorched timber on that one. So I want to get this piece down first. So we're going to get our glue. And we're going to get this lined up. All right, now what we want to do, I'm going to remove our pieces from our board. And now I'm just going to press down on all of our double-sided tape, and we are going to remove all the release paper. And now we're going to get our piece, and we're going to get that glued down as well. And we can now put this on top of our soon-to-be pocket. And I'm going to center that. And we're just going to push. In between, we're going to go around. We're going to make sure the edges. And we're just going to let that glue set in. All right, now we're going to get our page. First, I want to grab my board, and this should be set, and it is. See, it is nice and secure. That's the beauty of liquid glue. So I'm going to put this through, put that through. Get that secured. And we'll get this into our pocket. So that board will just slide in there. So now, oh, wow. Wow. Couldn't have done that more perfect. Okay. Cleaning off my glue nozzle, and I've got glue everywhere. So let me clean that up real quick. And I thought I had, yeah, one more. There we go. All right, now let me find where, so that's our center one. Yes. So now I'm going to put glue, just a thin line, down each side. And then we're going to come along the bottom. And then we're going to line this up along our page's edge. And we're going to press that down. I don't want to press too much down with my other pieces in there. But I want to make sure that holds. And now, what we need to do with our game pieces, before we get them set onto our panel, is we need to add our backing piece. So for each of these pieces, I'm going to real quick, we're going to remove the release paper, fold in all the excess, and we're going to put glue around the outside, and then we're going to put our piece down, making sure that we're going to constantly roll around and make sure we just don't have any gaps. I want to make sure that the paper is around that piece and not picking up. And you can see they won't, they'll wobble if you do this, but they're, the magnet's a nice size. So I'm going to do that to the rest of them. I'm going to show you one more. So we remove the release paper. We're going to curl in whatever excess is there. We're going to put glue around the outside edge we're going to grab our backing. We want to make sure that we're lined up because that double-sided tape is going to grab on immediately. And then we're just going to keep pushing, moving that glue, and just making sure it is flat along the edge. And then we're going to go around it with some vintage photo. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and when we come back, we'll see what our page looks like. We are back. So our pocket is set, and it's not a deep pocket, okay? It's just a pocket to put a couple tags or a document or anything like that. But it is a deep pocket, which I think is cool. Now, you can tell that if we just drop them, and if I remember where the magnets are, they will grab on. I think, yeah, there we go. So there is, these are our game board pieces, and we have our game board, and then we have our charm, which is telling us what the name of that game is. So when she stands up, now this one is just a little bit too long. I want it to dangle. So to fix that, it's very simple. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut just a couple of the balls from the chain, and I'm going to rethread and see if that does the trick. I do want it to dangle freely, and no, that's not dangling freely yet. So we will take a couple more off. I'm going to work in small increments. So that I don't take too much of the chain part off. And I think 2 more will do the trick. At least I hope. And I went 3, so that's okay. That should definitely do the trick. And there we go. Now she's dangling freely. So we have our 2 pieces. Yes, those tabs, but we can push them in so they only stick out just a little bit. There is room for them to get pushed back in there so that they are almost flush with the book. That's what I was looking at. And then we have our vines and ladders, our Dracula and Dragons draughts. Okay. So there you go. That is how we are setting up our game pieces. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a little different. Yes. I will be making stuff for inside. Again, because we have to journal as well, even though it's our game book. And then I still have to decide what I'm going to do on this side. I know I'm going to put a pocket here. I think I'm going to have it set up the same way that I have these pages. And then that will also allow and add more thickness from these magnets. These magnets are very strong. And while this is thick, it could still catch on to these. Now, since I have the inch or the 3/8 of an inch gap here between our scrapbook album hinges, that is the perfect width, because you can see it's just enough. And with that pocket, we're not going to have it start alligating, and I don't want it to do that. So perfect width, very basic. The fancy part is just all of these magnets that we are using. So shout out again to my crew. When I go live on Sundays, they really, I said the word magnets and they just came in with it and gave me the confidence to do that, to do something like this. And it is secure. It's not going to go anywhere. These pieces, they are in there. They're not going to shift around. They're very strong. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to do the same thing to the tic-tac-toe board. Same principle. We're going to have the same dangle that's going to come down. We're going to have the same pocket and the same height of that pocket. I might just change the orientation of it just to give it something a little bit different, because we have this pocket here that's small. We've got a larger pocket here. I may put it here so you can tuck things, or I'll keep it the same. It all depends. I'm probably going to keep it the same because that'll make me nuts. And then soon we'll be working on our envelopes and the games that will be going in there. So those, I have to figure out how I'm going to design those. So again, I hope you enjoyed this. I will link down to Tracy Fox's website, where if you have been watching all of the Creep on June creates, I hope you're enjoying them. I have not yet started to watch them. I've made sure I've subscribed to them all. They are all wonderful creators. But I don't want to watch them yet. That's going to be my fun-filled July, just to see all of their amazing creates that they have done for this collection. But link to her shop, her website will be down below. Also links to these digitals if you are interested, because you've been watching. If you have any questions, you can leave those down below as well. Make sure you subscribe. I'd love to have you here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and ring the bell, and hopefully you'll be notified. We'll give it a shot. But also know I go live every Sunday around 9 a.m. Eastern time, sometimes earlier, and I try to make that announcement so everybody knows. And I also have a community with 2 levels, with the first level being free. Yes, you heard that right. I will have that link down below as well, where every month we focus on a new project and or topic and create with that in mind. We also learn a new tangle. I am a certified Zentangle teacher every month. And then soon we'll be getting into other items. So I hope to see you there, but we'll still be here on YouTube as well. Just enjoy the process, everyone. That's all I ask. Have fun with it. Come up with strange and new ideas. You never know what you're going to come up with and how it's going to look, but just enjoy the process. And always remember, be creative in everything that you do every day. Continue to stay safe and healthy always. And I will talk to you in the next one. And until then, take care.